the reality of just how difficult riding this Paris Brest Paris was going to be hit us like a cold wave splashing into our faces on stage 2 of the Paris Brest Paris. Now, this is a 98-kilometer stage from Montaigne or Perche to Villaine la Joelle, just west of Paris. We staggered out of our comfortable lodgings in Montaigne or Perche early that morning and made our way through a myriad of cobblestoned roads to the town square. I'm currently in the town center at Montaigne or Perche, trying to retrace the route of the 2019 PBP. This is just a totally insanely beautiful little town. You can see all the beautiful buildings and if you look scenery. If you look at some of those beautiful shop fronts, yeah, they're just absolutely just stunning, just absolutely stunning, just totally beautiful. I really think that, you know, when you're going to do the PBP, you know, hopefully you've got some energy and some time just to stop and have a look and appreciate some of the beauty of this ride. I know most of you are going to be either racing to get some of the amazing times of trying to do it in under 50 hours. And there are going to be many that are just going to try to be able to complete within the 90-hour time cut. And I know you are also not going to have much time to actually spend stopping, taking photographs and just enjoying the scenery. But if you have the chance and you have the opportunity and the means, please do so. Or come and do this as an independent activity, like we are doing, just a bikepacking trip through the countryside, just to try to get a feeling of what it's all about to be riding and doing some bikepacking in France. This allowed us to regain the GPS signal, and we soon found the Montaigne or Perche checkpoint, which was a huge glass-fronted facility just on the outskirts of the town. This is a checkpoint in Montaigne or Perche, and it looks like a sports facility. So I suppose there's going to be washrooms and there's going to be places to actually lie down and rest and, you know, refuel and do whatever you need to do to be able to tackle the remaining 14 stages of the Paris Brest Paris. I think the crucial point about riding this stage is that the majority of riders in the 80 and 90-hour groups are unlikely to appreciate the beauty of the area around Montaigne or the spectacular scenery to Villaine. This is because I suspect the majority of riders in these groups are going to pass through this stage in the middle of the night or in the early hours of the morning, and are not going to have the opportunity to appreciate the beauty of this valley. What essentially you are going to miss as an 80 or 90-hour randonneur is a long descent from Montaigne into a forested valley. And then a series of steep, longish climbs to the town of Villaine. By the time many of the 80 and 90-hour riders reach this region, I anticipate that most of the large pelotons will have thinned out. And with darkness setting in, I suspect that the pace of most riders will start to slow down. Also, the opportunity to refuel in Montaigne will entice some riders to dismount and drop off from the pelotons, and I suspect that there's going to be a large stringing out of the pelotons along this stage of the ride. So it is likely that many riders will either be riding alone or in much smaller groups when navigating the descents into this valley. Riding solo through these descents has both its pros and its cons. With fewer riders on the road, there's going to be less risk of bumping into others, and you will be able to choose your own line to safely navigate these corners in the dark. Unfortunately, A potential negative aspect is that you may have some difficulty judging the radius of the curves on the descents, especially if you don't have adequate lighting. To safely negotiate sharp turns on a descent at night, you require lights with enough depth or illumination to allow you to see far enough into the corners to allow you to adjust your speed to safely negotiate those corners. We have fitted dynamo-powered lights for the Paris Brest Paris. I am hoping that these dynamo lights will be adequate and that we won't have to rely on additional secondary lighting with deeper penetration into those curves on the descents.
This is Saint Christopher de Jouel.
Once you pass through the valley floor, expect lots of climbing as you ascend to Villaine. Scenery of this route in the day is undoubtedly spectacular. Unless you're in the 84-hour group, you are very unlikely to have the opportunity to appreciate this view.
Little town, and just incredibly beautiful.
We stopped in the small hilltop hamlet of Saint Christophe for an honest chat about whether we would commit to riding the Paris Brest Paris in 2023.
How was that?
It is brutal. I'm still trying to figure out in my head, how am I going to be able to just keep going? It's not like at 1:20 I could stop and get into bed and have a fantastic shower, have a nice meal and go and sleep. No, I have to keep after Montaigne or Perche. I must keep going to the next place. That's the thing. That is the thing. It's just that amazing endurance. You must have this incredible endurance, and it's difficult, right? But it's not impossible, right? To do what we're doing, right? It's hard. I'm finding it hard, but I know that I'm going to get to the finish. I'm going to get there. It doesn't matter. I don't know what time I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. But that is just the thing. You can't. You have to say, this distance I have to do it in this time. This distance I have to do it in this time. That's the maximum time I've got to do those distances. I can't go over that and keep going over. Every time I do 100, I keep going beyond the time that I'm supposed to allocate for the 100. Then I don't finish it in time.
But I think there's cut-offs, eh?
Is it?
Yeah. You have to reach a control at a specific time,
Oh.
you know, and if you don't, then they pull you out of the race.
Yeah, because I can't imagine them just letting you staying on the road, 8,000 people. Maybe 4,000 have already fallen out. Because who's going to wait for them?
Yeah.
That means it's 6 days on the road, and they can't. The road is. They probably say, look, we just need 3 days
To close the roads, because the roads are probably closed.
Yeah, they're too narrow.
Safe to say that although we recognize that there are many challenges to success at the Paris Brest Paris, we felt that this was something we wanted to do and was also something that we thought we might have the potential to complete. One point of appreciation that we had was that this valley would have to be climbed in reverse on the return leg of the Paris Brest Paris, and we would have to negotiate these steep climbs after having completed almost 1,000 kilometers of riding. This gave us a greater appreciation for the accomplishments of all those randonneurs that have gone before us that have been successful at completing this enormous physical challenge. We arrived in Villaine later that afternoon, a bit more informed about the challenges of the route of the Paris Brest Paris. Now, Villaine is better known for hosting the start of the Tour de France on many occasions, but I think for many randonneurs, Villaine will represent reaching the first official checkpoint of the Paris Brest Paris.
Okay, so this is the Church of St. Nicholas, and I think this is directly across the way from the end of stage 2, and that is the control center, and it looks like it's in the municipal offices at the Hotel de Ville.
I would recommend that you study the layout of the Villaine checkpoint in advance, as this checkpoint can be really quite sprawling with facilities scattered over a large area. Perhaps consider carrying a printed copy of the checkpoint to allow you to navigate this checkpoint efficiently, as many riders will reach this checkpoint in the early hours of the morning when fatigue may be just settling in. Later that afternoon, we arrived at our comfortable accommodation for the evening on the outskirts of Villaine. Join us in our next video as we continue to reconnaissance the route of the Paris Brest Paris and travel through some of the most romantic areas of Western France as we inch closer to the city of Brest. If you've liked this video, please remember to press that like button. And if you would like to see more videos about exploring the route of the Paris Brest Paris, please subscribe to this channel. Until the next time we meet, please ride safe.